Right. So we are in 2nd of November. So today we will cover chapter 5. The textbook will be covered today. On next Monday we will have an extra outside of text about XML and UML and tools. And also next Wednesday we will have a invited lecture. Professor Kim. He will do the similar things we will cover today and next Monday. So we will see the different viewpoint of the same topic on next Wednesday. And then the 2 weeks time you will have a midterm presentation of a term project. Right? So I hope you show me good progress. Yeah. Alright, so this is the chapter 5 front part. So we are trying to cover the information modeling, how we represent the product data representation in formal way. So I will cover front part about information modeling and data sharing, modeling alternatives, and what is requirement for information modeling, and express language, and how can we use express language for the modeling, information modeling, and then these things. So the 1033, the step standard is for product data. Product data is a product. Every industry producing product. So the cover is very wide. But information modeling itself is not a product itself. Right? But representation, modeling of the real product. But it is applied to a special product, and it is about information about product. So information modeling is modeling. You should understand what is modeling, what is information modeling too. So I will explain a little bit more. And then what is the characteristics of information modeling too. So formal model, we are talking about informal model and formal model. What is informal? What is formal? This is because of the computer interpretable language. Programming language, we are saying natural language. I'm talking English now, right? This is a natural language. But programming language is, we say, more formal. So that the computer can process, computer can understand the computer programming language. So that express language or step information modeling is similar. That is formal and that can be processed by CAD systems, softwares, and software vendors. So what is formal language, formal model? 2 factors. It's technically, non-technically. So it should be a robust modern language, and there will be also tools. But there is also non-technical thing, something like standards should be agreed by consensus by most of the countries. 2/3 of voting should be yes to make ISO standard. As I told you before, part 57, we are submitting, trying to make a new part of 57, and that have a CD ballot last week finished. So we just passed the balloting, and the rule is 2/3 more than 2/3 is yes to both. So that kind of agreement, and also off-the-shelf software implementation is required. And modeling language alternatives, there is another language called NIAM, IDF. IDF has variations of 0, 1, and 1x. X means extension. And Express is the language we are using for step standard. So there are more alternatives like ADM by 1969, or long time ago. Also, this entity relationship ER diagram is very famous for database management work. Relational database is usually defined by ER diagram, and that is developed by Dr. Chen in 1976. And also there is a semantic database model more recently, but still it's 30 more than 30 years ago, 35 years ago. Now we arrive at the standard ISO standard for NIAM, IDF, and Express language. And among that, Express language is developed, created by the TC1A4, SH4. NIM is also coming from people, the person named Nielsen, information analysis methodology. But this one is mainly coming from graphical representation, diagramming of information modeling, and usually focus on natural language sentences. So node, constraint, and node, relationship, and object and fact, these things are used. But natural language processing is also important, because nowadays artificial intelligence softwares understand speech recognition, right? Your smartphone has such a software, right? So natural language processing is also important, but formality is a little bit low, right? So that you need to percentage of recognition, and some kind of artificial intelligence is needed. And this diagram shows a sample of NIAM model. Right? So you can see that car model manufactured by manufacturer, say Hyundai or Volkswagen or Toyota, and then a car, real model is of a car model. This is a class, and this is an instance. And that car, the instance model, you know what is class instance? Right? Can you differentiate between class and instance? Yes? No? Yes? No? What is the answer? What is it? Yes or no? No. Then raise your hand. Then I can explain. I'm a humankind. A race. Right? Human. It's a class. Human class. For myself, Soonhung is an instance of human class. The real one. Class is a generalization or abstraction of some similar things. Right? This is a board pen groups. Right? There are so many. Right? Board pen groups. But this one is real one. We can say this is an instance. Right? Car class. This is car class. This is an abstraction. So just a CAR, this alphabet, CAR. So we are saying that, we know that this looks like this one, or behavior like this one. Right? It's a generalization or abstraction. So class is not real one. Instance is a real one. So by gathering, grouping similar things together, we find out this is a class of ball pen, class of human, class of car. Right? So this is an abstract form of car classes or grouping, generalization. But this one is a real car. That car has serial number. My car is part of over there. That car has a serial number. That car has a year of production. So this is a real car there. But all of them, altogether we say the common. And that car is a Volkswagen. And then the Volkswagen is made by some German maker. And then also there has a model number, Golf. And what is a model, regular model or special model something. So it's some separation of this common, Volkswagen common, or passenger common. So class and instance is important concept in object-oriented programming. So this is a generalization or specialization, or is it abstract level, or this is more what is it? Concrete, or what is the reverse word of abstract? Precise, not precise. So, and IDF is another language for used inside STEP community. This is based on SADT. SADT is here. SADT. No, SADT is not. Developed by Douglas T. and Softec Corporation. There's a company. It is used by military in United States military people, long time, as a functional modeling language, and it is comprehensive and expressive capable. It is also graphically representation, similar to NIAM, and also it helps. This information modeling language helps to communication between data system analysis developers and users. And this is a sample of IDF zero diagramming tool, and that is used by STEP technology. And I don't know what is the coverage. Anyway, this is manage and plan project, design engineering and plan, and then produce goods and service, and commissioning plant, and manage, operate, and maintenance plant, and decommissioning. This is a life cycle of plant industry. So planning, and designing, and produce, and construct, and then operation, and decommission. So it is an activity model of the life cycle of a plant. And then there is a input and control. So there is a rule for this kind of arrows, directions. Is the output. Input is incoming, output is coming out. But this output can be used as an input, or can be used as a control of activity. This is activity, and this activity can be further expanded into more sub-activities in separate sheet. So it's a top level IDF activity diagram, and this A2 has a separate sheet of this whole sheet. And then inside the A2 sheet, there is a A21, A22, A23, A24, so that you can have a subdivision of activities. So hierarchical activity model. So they have such a diagramming system. And IDF1X, oh, I should write down IDF1X. IDF1X. So misspelling that. And IDF1X is based on NDT. This is coming from logical database design technique. And relational database also true. Relational database is related to AER diagram, entity relationship diagram. And IDF1 is also there. Well, IDF0, you see IDF1, but this is extended. X means extended. And the requirement coming from the information requirement, supporting, coherent, teachable, and testable, and so IDF1X is a sampling like this. It's similar to Express G diagram. Express G diagram looks like this. So there is a car model here, as you see in a NIM diagram. It's a class, and this is a instance object. Class object, instance object. The instance is there. Instance object. So instances of serial number, model name, and year of production. But there is a manufacturer. Manufacturer of this car model, and manufacturer, there is the owner of the company. And express language, it is designed as a language for data exchange. And they want to have a separate out between information modeling and computer programming. So this is not a computer programming language. This is information modeling language. So it's one layer higher than programming language. Information modeling is high level. So it is not specific to a particular computer programming or database system. So you can say this is neutral, also it is higher level than before. That this is an express model of the same car classes. So you see that there is an entity car and end of entity. So this is one definition of one entity, and one entity means one class or one object. One object. So you can say class or schema. Class or schema. And car model also is another entity, and manufacturer subtype, and owner superset of entity, owner, entity manufacturer. So manufacturer is some type of owner, and owner is super type of manufacturer. So they are as a class and some class hierarchy. So classes has a hierarchy. So super class, subclass hierarchy is there. Class hierarchy. We have a class hierarchy. And hierarchy is that we say superclass, subclass, and superclass hierarchy. But instances is just a final leaf node, so there is no hierarchy. Instance is different. Classes has a hierarchy. Human beings can be hierarchy, say that Europeans and Asian. Under Asian, there is Chinese, Korean, Japan. There's some classes of Asian, right? And instance, myself is one Korean. There is no hierarchy. And modeling, information modeling, what is the requirement? The normative form of step. Normative form. You can say there is also in normative form. But mostly normative form normative part of step standard contains computer interpretable language called express. So we can process. There's a parser of express language. Similarly to XML, right? Similar to Excel. UML, sometimes there is also computer can process UML. Nowadays, this is popular, that computers can process information modeling languages. But in 30 years ago, this is the first time, especially in ISO. And why we need express language? Because we need a formal data modeling methodology. Also, we want to separate out the physical file. Part 21 is physical data file from the semantics level. Semantic means schema, we call schema. Schema is coming from database world. If you designing a database, especially relational database, you start from table. But each table has a size and columns, and each column has a name. Right? This is a phone number column, address column, name, student number, something like that. That design of table of relational database, we call this is a schema. Collection of table design, we call it schema. Database schema. Similarly, we say this is kind of semantics of the steps and physical structure is separate out. And PDDI, we introduced last classes. Then from the project on PDDI, we developed express language. And then IDF1X was existing when express language is developed, but they found that this is not good for step standard because this is only graphical and then also weak on constant specification in language. Also, NIM was tested strong on constraint, but it is also the diagram is not so good. So there is a pros and cons of idea on it and NIM. So they considered so many times to use these languages, but finally they decide to develop their own language of Express. But still they is using these as a alternative or supportive way. And modeling, the quality data modeling, information modeling is a function of experience. So you need to have a good experience to have a good. So it looks like a design of a ship, a design of a car. Right? Information modeling is very simple. And normalization in relational database, have you had a chance to attend the database classes on your person? So that's why your understanding is high. Right. Normalization is a special word in relational database. Oracle something. Right? Schema, normalization, and entity relationship diagram. Right? There's formula, familiar names or terminologies or concepts inside the relational database. That's why I'm saying you should take classes of database classes sometimes, right? Offer some objective quality improvement. But relational database model is simpler compared to the Express. So the Express is more complicated because we are talking about geometry. We are talking about engineering information. That is complicated than the bank account transactions. Relational database is usually taking care of text databases, not graphical database. There is a big difference. Right? Graphical database is complicated. So modeling in STEP has two roles, understanding and also specified structure. And you see start of entity, right? Schema example. In previous example there is no word like a schema, but this is schema. And start entity, end entity, and start entity, another end entity. And this is all together as an end schema. So schema, you are saying schema is a collection of entities and collection of classes. There is a car entity class, or there's a person entity. And person entity is a property of name, first name and last name. Car is entity, property of maker, car model, year, and so we call this property, attribute. Entity is something like class. Attribute is something like a property of the class or object of class. And vehicle, once again, this is a class hierarchy. And vehicle class has a subclass of car, passenger car, and truck, commercial truck car. And schema, example of vehicle entity or class, and car, passenger car entity class, and also truck entity class. This is all together as a schema or example. That way we are using express language. And contribution of step 2 modeling. This is a layered structure. Is a separation of physical and schema level, 17 level, and also step to produce variations and extensions. Right. So layered structure in AP we have a requirement model, reference model, and also interpreter model. But if you try to have a flat schema, no layer, it is not easy to make a big object or complex object. So in programming, computer programming, you also use subroutines. So that all class hierarchy, we have a layered structure like this. Very similar to programming and decomposition in process models. IDF, I showed you in IDF diagram that plant life cycle of planning, designing, construction, and operation, and decommissioning. Each box shows one big activity. Behind them, there is another whole sheet of low layered or decomposed activities. So it's a composition. Abstraction. We use of generalization, and specialization. We can say this generalization and specialization in the class trees. Questions? And express diagram, express G diagram is for graphical notation of express. Oh, there is some Korean. Anyway, schema, referencing, use, and this is referencing, entity data type, and definition, select data type, basic type, enumeration, and this is a functional also type. This kind of notational definitions are used for express G diagram. Very similar to that. So basic data type has a number, real, integer, logical, Boolean string, and binary and real string. So that kind of numbering system or your numbers. And then there's express variations. So original one is express language, right? Express language. Part 11 of that 10303 ISO. But the variation shows graphical express, instance express, view express, mapping or exchange mapping express, schema mapping. This is exchange and that numbers and alright? That's it. Questions? And then who's coming for Yubin?
Do you think Express will be replaced in the future by you now?
Yes.
So the
But
next,
as I explained in another lecture about SGML and XML and HTML, do you remember this? This is a historically original one. And then it comes to second one is HTML and XML is a new one. The latest one is XML. But the functional capability wise, this XML is in between. Very simple one, very complex one. Right? Express is, you can say, in this way, Express. And also I explained about step itself is very heavy and very innovative. So that I want to make in the future easy step, easy, or step light. Right. Very similarly, expression language itself is very capable. Right? Capable. Very have many functions, but it is not easy to use or implement. So the XML or UML is all out. So XML, UML, are also web ontology language. They can be popular also. Popularity is another strong point, right? And also easier than this one. So it's very easier. So it should be another.
but you're saying Express is more powerful than you now?
Right.
Is it?
But the target is a little bit different. Target is different. But in terms of language, as a language, it has a more expressive power and more power to making constraint between them, more formality, something like that. So have a more capability, expressive power, big, and also. So that I guess SGML is still there because it is something like baseline or source of ideas there, but not used in commercial world. But they are based on this SGML, right? Even though this is most popular. Similarly, Express will stay there, but this will be used in the real world in the future. I guess that is not.
Like C, Java, and MATLAB, for example.
There was a Fortran too in old days.
Yeah.
Right?
Hi, my name is Yubin, and I'm gonna introduce you about information modeling. It is Express and Express G. First, this is overview. Express is a textual conceptual schema language used for defining a data model. It has two characters, and it is based on entity, and attribute, and relationship. And it contains both human readable and computer interpretable character, and it is one of ISO 10303 step member, and it is used to specify the normative part of the information models in STEP. This is express constructs. It composed of schema, type, entity, constant, function, and procedure, and rule. First, schema. Schema defines a topic of interest, and such as geometry, topology, things. And it is possible to have inter-schema referencing. For example, first we make the schema such as geometry, and we can use it in the other schemas, such as routing and piping. And next, type. There are 7 basic types. As Professor said, there are number, real, integer, string, logical, boolean, and binary. I think you are familiar with integer and string. And it is user-defined type. And there is another thing, user-defined type. And it is used as the types of an explicit attribute in an entity. As you can see, the point, it is an entity, and it is composed of real x and y and z, and x and y and z is a real type. And next, I talk about entity. Entity is a basic construct used for defining a data model. It supports of the generation mechanism, and the generation mechanism is are supertypes and subtypes, and it may be used as an attribute in another entity. And you can see this picture. The name car is an entity, and there are make and car model and year and owner, and they are attributes. Subtypes and supertypes. And this mechanism enables the inheritance of properties and constraints. And the multiple inheritance is allowed in Express. It means there are super type and subtype, and we can use in the subtype and in the supertype. As you can see this picture, the vehicle is a supertype of car and truck, and the car is subtype of vehicle. So, as Professor said, they are in the class relationship. And this is aggregate type. There are 4 types in the aggregate type: back and set and list and array. This is the some function, and this is the character of each aggregate type. That cannot contain upper bound and uniqueness and order, but set contain uniqueness and list contain order and array contain upper bound and order. And it is used like this. And it is example of bag and list. As you can see, first the part is defined, and then entity kit use the information of part, and then it gets the information from the part, and it defines the information as a bag. And next, select type. Select type combine two different types of attributes. Two different types of attributes. And as you can see, this picture and the overhead projector, and there is a flip chart. This is different types of type, but the select can combine the overhead and flip chart. And this is enumeration type. Enumeration means the order of the list. So it can put the information by order. And this is derived attributes. Derived means alternative and auxiliary representation of an entity may be provided. And as you can see, the area it is a real type, and it defined as pi multiply radius multiply radius. This is optional attributes. Optional means some attributes may not be necessary, so you can provide it in an instance. And this is a unique attribute. Attributes in an entity can also be constrained to be unique. But I don't know why they define the information as a unique. Do you know about why they make it unique?
The attribute itself should be unique. But the reason?
Yeah. I don't know the reason.
I'm not sure, but if you populate this entity, for example, part number should be unique. If there is a part 1 and part 2, part 3, let's say that's a part number, and that should not be the same. So that's why they are saying that it should be unique.
Okay.
That is an additional constraint.
Yeah.
To make it any special or only one. Hero number and should be only one. So the additional constraint or attribute.
And next, this is about local rule, and where is it is additional constraint, and it is like this red word, there is some constraint in the WR1. So the WR1 means it is the over of 3, the number of here. And another is other capabilities in Express, and they are the function and procedure and group, and standard constraints, functions and procedures, and interschema referencing. And I'll talk about the Express tree diagram. This is the overview, and Express tree provides controls for the following: the schema and interschema link, entity and entity generalization, attributes, relationship and cardinality, and type and multi-page referencing. And there are some special things in Express tree. They cannot support the specification of constraints, but they can support, they can check the constraints that some entity has using the star character. And this is the Express tree constructs, and this is composed of schema, reference, and use definition, and entity data type, and definition type, and select data type, base data type, and enumeration data type. As you can see, there are some the other shape of the function, and this is about reference this page, and this means reference other page. And this is 7 Express data type, and this is aggregates data types. As I mentioned before, there are 4 types of aggregates data types, and they are used as like this picture. It means entity gets the information from the B, and the method is A means array, and L means list, S means set, and B means bag. And this is about user-defined types. We can define volume as a real type, so we can use the volume as a real type. And then there are numeration type, so we can make an order like left, right, forward, and backward, and yeah, this is a numeration type. And this is about select type. So I said that select can combine two different types. So as you can see this picture, the gizmo contains widget and framers, the 2 entities. And this is about inheritance. First, the entity A is a supertype, and the kind of entity A is a subtype. So as you can see, this word, you can see the supertype of the kind of entity A, and you can see this word, and this is the supertype of entity A. So it is on the class relationship. And this is another example of the class. And in this case, the vehicle is a supertype, and the car and truck is the subtype. And this is express tree diagram tools. There are 3 tools: MS Visio 2002, and EDM 4.5, and step tools, SD Developer 8.0. And this is a comparison table. And the degree of easy editing, the Visio is most easiest one, and the automatic generation, the SD Developer is the most powerful one. This is we explain how we can make the express G. And in the MS Visio, we can access to the database, and then we can choose the express G. And then there are some GUI functions in the website, and we can just choose and put it in here, and we just type. We can just type. So I think it is easy to use. And this is EDM 4.5. First, we should make the database, and then express schema, and then import express schema, and then open the diagram. Then we can make the express G diagrams. And this is SD Developer. First, we should choose the express G layout, and then we should import it, and we can make the express G diagram. But it is not simple. It is not look like simple, so it's hard to make diagram. This is my end of my presentation. Thanks.
This may be a little advanced, maybe the professor can help, but with multiple inheritance and having constraint definition, isn't it possible that 2 constraints may contradict?
Sometimes, yes.
So is there like a contradiction detection mechanism or something?
Express,
Or we just assume they don't contradict?
Well, maybe the tools can find out the contradictions. The language itself cannot have such a test.
But without an instantiation of the constraint, how can you prove the contradiction?
Yeah.
It's like conceptual contradiction.
So depending on the implementation, it's between.
There is an express compiler. So if you make a schema, then you need to compile it. And if it succeeded, then you can use it. Maybe the compiler, maybe there are many compilers. So compilers can catch that kind of contradiction.
I see. So the compiler has a constraint solver inside?
Constraint? What do you mean constraint? Railroad, something like that?
Like the constraint solver for geometric constraints.
No, it is just a schema, not the instance.
Yeah, but if you want to detect the constraint contradiction, you have to use a constraint solver to try and solve it. If you don't solve it, there has to be at least one feasible instance. Something like that.
Yeah, maybe the compiler can handle it.
I see. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, and did I throw today?
No, kick off.
down the date and your name in the front page later.
First subject is too simple. How about replacing express language with XML? Only and disagree. I will select only this way for you. Yubin and Mohammed agree, and TA and Wang name is disagree.
Good idea to use salary.
So you're saying replacing express language instead to external language?
So which one is possible?
You are agreeing.
Yourself
You and me agree.
Replace. You are saying not replace. No.
To be able to discuss about this topic, I think we need to know deeply about the language and its capability. And what I've learned from Express and XML supports more, can I say, advanced functions, like redefine some attribute or some functions that constrain something. But as for XML, I don't think they are supporting that kind of capability.
What capability?
They support some constraints, but not about the calculations and functions. And it's really hard for me to explain it. But yeah, so capability-wise, I think Express is more powerful and very convenient to use it. So I think they need to go for Express.
Well, I think I disagree because, like, XML is kind of powerful modeling language. You can, I think, any graph or any diagram pretty much can be converted to XML. Like, it's just most UML diagrams, I think, can be converted to XML. So XML is like the Express compared to Express G. XML to UML can be considered like Express to Express G, something like that. So you can represent processes in XML, you can represent hierarchies in XML, class diagrams, pretty much anything. So I think it's powerful enough. Added to that, it's more popularly used. So especially by the semantic web kind of community, they use XML a lot to identify like semantics of documents. So if you want to have a consistent semantic modeling language for documents, for natural language, and for even geometry and CAD, I think XML could be the way to go compared to Express. And UML could be the graphical version of it. But yeah, that's my opinion. So I agree that we should replace Express with XML.
You should.
I have no idea about it. Could you explain more about the background information about like Express and XML? So, you said we should replace Express language with XML. So can you give me some like specific example?
I don't think he can give you an example right at the moment. He assumed we all know about express and XML.
I think express compared to mesh file, compared to express file or step file is like an HTML to XML. So mesh is like the actual points or the data, and express kind of describes more compact representation or semantics of these points. These points lie on a circle, these points lie on a face, something like that. And similarly, HTML is like the syntax or the actual written material, and XML is like the meaning of this. So I think it's a good analogy. Yeah. Mesh to express and HTML to XML. I'm not sure if that helps. You're in the office, so you shouldn't be talking to.
And the steps purpose is generalizing. So the generalizing the other word is, I think, the simplest one, simplistic. So maybe the as Professor said, the express is complicated, but XML is more simple to express. So maybe the trend will be changed to the simplest one.
So are you trying to disagree?
Yeah, we should go for disagree, express.
Okay. I think because Express is kind of like very powerful language inside that, so a lot of like implementations are done by using Express language. So there must be some reason why they decided to use Express instead of XML. So maybe it's because of Express has a lot of advantages that can be used to improve and even consolidate the construction process. So Express is a kind of semantic based semantic.
What?
Express semantic, like a kind of semantics based language. Semantic?
Semantic.
Sure.
Semantic?
Semantic.
Oh, semantic, yeah, semantic.
The meaning of points.
Yeah, semantic based language, so it will be more simple and more like can be more easily used by the users. So I think we don't need to replace Express with XML because it's quite highly efficient and it's quite useful. It's quite yeah.
So you are disagree with Express, right?
Yeah. So we don't need to replace
so you don't need to express your opinion.
He's joking.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
I didn't get it.
Anyways, okay.
Any other opinion? No. What I know about these two capabilities is Express is very convenient and powerful, as I said. And not all functions and not all capabilities can be covered by XML. And that's what I know. And Express and also can represent some entity and relationship and also their cardinalities and constraints in a very compact way and very intuitive way also. So that's why they made this, they're using this language, and they have tried to use, they actually made this standard support XML capability. But in fact, they are not using it widely. So even though XML is widely used and very popular, as for the step, it's more better way to just stick to Express language, and hopefully it is widely spread to the people, so that everyone can use it.
Is Transcat use Express?
No.
XML?
Yes.
Why?
Because we chose to.
Nice.
Chose to use it. That's right. And as you know, all the data modeling, first you have to make the schema and you make the instance, right? So as for the step, Transcat is about feature-based parametric model. So step doesn't fully support that kind of capability. It has some, but not fully. So that's why we just go for the XML.
Any other opinion?
저는 최근에 연구해서 봤어요. 스텝 블루 같은 것 중에 그게 예전에 비해서 좀 더 이제 간단해지거든요. 그렇기 때문에 교수님 아까도 좀 말씀하신 것처럼 이지 스텝이나 스텝 라이트로 갈 거라고 하셨는데
그렇게 갈 거라고 하니까 그렇게 가야 된다고 왜냐면 너무 무겁고 어려워서 사람들이 잘 못 쓰니까 HTML하고 SVM을 비교해보면 HTML은 굉장히 단순한 거예요. 근데 단순했기 때문에 그냥 뭐 popularity-하고 simplicity-하고 이게 되게 좋은 거, 잘 힘세고 좋은 것만 중요한 건 아니라는 거예요. 가야지 써야지 않으면 아무 소용이 없잖아요.
현재 그렇게 되고 있는 건 아니에요. 그렇게.
현재는 아니에요. Question about easy step like is it happening in ISO community? My answer was not yet. So I'm talking to them. We should go in this way. About this topic, you may think about the natural language cases, comparing modern advanced language, something like English, French, or Chinese, comparing to the old, ancient, primitive languages, which is already disappeared. But can you say Express or XML is a primitive language? So if you are talking about comparable languages such as French or Japanese, then it's not easy to say which one is better.
I finish this question. 3분만.
Say once again, if some natural language is disappearing, is it sign of that language is primitive or inferior to remaining language? That is not the correct answer. There are much more things we should consider when languages disappear.
First one. One more technical thing. I think schema-wise, in terms of schema, Express is more readable and understandable, I think, than XML. But if you make an instance from it, then it becomes really difficult to read and also write.
Oh, steps.
Yeah.
Instance.
So if
If
you make some step file from the 3D CAD system and you open it in the text file, then you may not understand. It's really difficult to read. But XML, it's really intuitive, structured, and hierarchically. So maybe if they improve those instantiation things, then they can be widely used as XML, I think.
Thank you.